What's good, everybody? The voice of the WGC back in the building. And my UFC gamers. You see the title? EA developer talks about how they killed. The emphasis on killed, how they killed the knee elbow spam in UFC 5. Let's get into it.
All right, so I sat down with an EA Sports UFC developer. His name is Yves Gomez. He used to be a game changer. You guys probably already know who this is. And I talked to him about an issue that we all had in UFC 4 in regards to the knee elbow spam. And of course, in UFC 4, players who using characters with the combination, the knee and the elbow, that's all they did, right? It's like they enter the match and they just go knee and elbow and knee and elbow. And it's not that there wasn't really a way to counter it in UFC 4. There was, but it was harder than it needed to be for such a simple combination, right? That combination, especially when paired with a bunch of other spammy tactics, made some players way more difficult to deal with than they needed to be, right? So I talked to him about it, and I am so happy to say that that combination is absolutely done with. It's been nuked. And in the clip you guys are about to watch, it's a fairly short clip. He talks about specifically what they did to it, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy this one. Those of you that have been complaining about this, you're going to be really, really happy. And if you're the kind of person that the knee elbow was the bulk of your whole entire striking system, I think you're going to shed a few tears with this one. So here's Yves.
And I have a surprise for you. Yeah. Something very recent. I was so curious about it that I tested it 2 a.m. to make sure like it was really in and that I could mention it in this talk right now. But we took like, a Nerf hammer, but imagine like a gigantic mole, like a morning star or something, a war hammer to the knees and the elbows. Yeah. So, it's a long list. Let me see if we can get it all.
Okay.
So first of all, the built-in evasion that the knees have, because you move your head back a little bit, that's gone. So now the hooks and the...
You see how he's getting caught every single time he knees? Check it out.
A little bit, that's gone. So now...
Every time John Jones throws that knee, he's getting caught by Gustafsson every single time.
The hooks and the uppercuts can hit you, and we made sure it wouldn't look wonky. Yeah, it looks like almost wonky in the worst case scenarios because we actually have new animations for the knees, and the new animation for the back knee. I don't know if you've seen it. I love it. Has the fighter leaning back even more, but the punches still look plausible reaching further ahead when they do that. So the reason we didn't do this change before, it was like this like blew out during like late UFC 4, and it would be too risky to change, and then suddenly the animations break and fighters fly away. That kind of thing can happen. But now with a somewhat of a fresh start in UFC 5, we had the time to do it and examine it, see if it breaks, and so far it's looking great. So that evasion is gone. I think that is the main thing. That was the most OP element. Now, the combos from the knees to the elbows and the elbows to the knees were slowed, and not by a little bit. They were slowed a lot, to a point where we were like, how much can we...
Ooh, yeah, that is pretty slow. Let me go back for that.
We were like, how much... To a point that they were slowed a lot.
Like, look at UFC 4 and look at UFC 5. Look at the speed comparison. Check this out.
They were slowed a lot. To a point where we were like, how much can we slow it without it looking weird? And then we did it. And it looks like the fighter throws one strike and settles to throw the other strike, which makes it look like it's plausible, like the second strike is going to have power. Whereas before, they would rush from one strike to the other, almost like they were just trying to touch the opponent with the second strike. So it should now look more plausible and not be nearly as powerful. The knee itself, only the rear knee, I suppose you're familiar with how the lead knee is actually not that fast because it has a shift. So the rear knee itself, just as base speed which is something that is surprisingly hard to change, like risky to change, because if you make certain things too slow, then you feel like you have a dead input, right? But for the rear knee, we very carefully made it slower, and it still looks possible and feels okay. We made it a bit slower, significantly, but a bit. 4 frames, I think. And the elbow to elbow combos were also slowed down a bit. Yeah, those ones, there isn't much.
I'm not gonna lie. You see, the knee elbow or elbow knee, that actually looked slow from UFC 4 to UFC 5, the comparison. But looking at UFC 4 and UFC 5, I'm not noticing that much of a speed difference, bro. When you talk about you slowed it down, I'm not. Y'all let me know if I'm tripping or not.
The elbow to elbow combos were also slowed down a bit. Yeah, those ones, there isn't much room to slow them a lot, but we slowed them down a bit. And they look plausible. And they shouldn't be that strong. They're supposed to be strong up close. That's the only time you can use them. But they probably won't be as overwhelming as before.
Okay, so how do y'all feel about that? I mean, that's great, to be honest, because I'm tired of playing against players who have no clue what the fuck they're doing and being able to damn near walk away scot-free. Like, it's just so annoying. Knee, elbow, knee, elbow, knee, elbow, knee, 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 elbow, knee, elbow, knee, elbow, knee, knee. It's like, my guy. Just take a little bit of time, go to the lab, and learn how to mix things up. You don't just have to throw a knee 20 times, an elbow 20 times, a knee an extra 20 times. Like, come on, bro. So I'm happy that they worked on that. But the question is, how is this actually going to look? Because it's one thing hearing it from a dev. Obviously, he's gonna talk highly of his game. You know, obviously, if you're not gonna go out and say, "Oh yeah, it's the same fucking game. Oh, it's the same bullshit. It's UFC 4. Blah blah blah." He's not gonna come out here and say that, obviously. So I want to see when the game officially drops on release week. I want to see somebody test this exact same thing out. Because, yeah, I'm seeing it right now. I understand that. But I want to see somebody actually have a controller in hand, streaming, or uploading a video and trying it out themselves. That's what I want to see, okay? It's easy to make things look good in the studio. But when it's actually, when the game is actually in our hands, the consumer, that's different. Because there was a mile long of complaints from that beta. So my question is, on that too, how many of those things got fixed? We'll see what happens as time goes on though. Are you excited for UFC 5? Or would you much rather play UFC Undisputed 3 forever? Let me know in the comments. You picking up UFC 5 on release week? Or are you waiting it out a bit till maybe Black Friday for that 50% off discount? With that being said, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. It's Sensation TV, and we out here. One love, God bless. See you in the next one. Peace.